Okay, so today I thought I'd talk about my first ever time running a business. And this was about a year ago. Uh, I had received £4,000 as part of a child trust fund maturing for it's like it's a UK thing. When you turn 18, you get this money. It's the best way I know how to explain it, really. But yeah, so I just received this £4,000, and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna use this money to change my life. I'm gonna build a business. I'm gonna make a shit ton of money. Now, spoiler alert, I did not quite go according to plan, uh, but I learned some valuable lessons, and I think that's the main reason I want to just go over this story to you know um, show you what went wrong, or tell you what went wrong rather, and you know how to not make those same mistakes. I've had a lot of, for context, I've had a lot of previous business experience. I'd say, from the age of 12 onwards, I've been very interested in business, and I've tried all sorts of business stuff. Drop shipping multiple times, copywriting, freelance work of various kinds like video editing. Um, I've tried YouTube Shorts automation, a normal YouTube channel, um, and just a ton of stuff. I've done lots of SEO research. I've become great at SEO. Done multiple courses, all this stuff. Always continuously trying to figure out a way to make it work with business. Uh, but due to a combination of issues, which I'll go into in a bit, it's never quite worked out. I now know exactly why that is, and like I said, I'll go into it in a minute, but um, that's why I want to tell this story basically. So, I was 18, just turned 18, my child trust fund matured, I got my £4,000 from the bank. And I'd also like to say I didn't actually spend the entire 4K on this business. I spent maybe 1.5 to 2K. Uh, you know, uh, Unfortunately, at the time, I had a massive food addiction. So I'd actually end up spending about £1,000 maybe on takeout in the space of a couple of months. And I got very fucking fat from that, let me tell you. Um, but it's all sorted now, luckily. But it is a bummer to know that, I completely wasted a grand on takeout that could have gone into a business, although this business wouldn't have worked regardless. Um, but so yeah, so I got my money, and I wanted a big issue I've had, and I think a big issue a lot of people have, especially young people. But a big issue I always had, and I've only recently fixed, to be honest, is I've been very impatient. I lacked patience completely. And I wanted everything as quick as possible, as easy as possible. I wanted to do as little work as possible, put in as little effort, and get as much as I possibly can out of it. And to a degree, I still operate on that philosophy, but not quite in the same way. Um, so I just wanted to start making money ASAP, as quick as possible, right? Um, And so I thought, okay, what's the quickest way I can do this? Started doing a bit of research, whatever. I came to the conclusion I should start a Shopify store, um, and do print on demand. And so I might even put some photos up now. I don't know. I don't know how heavily I'm going to edit this video, but I basically made a print on demand shop that sold clothing with music themed designs that I used AI to make. right? I know, fucking worst idea ever, right? Um, but I thought it was a pretty good idea, and honestly, I don't think it wasn't that bad of an idea. Um, but I paid £1 for Shopify because it's £1 for 3 months, or the deal that Shopify has on. Um, and shit, I missed the whole. Um, I paid £1 for Shopify, and then I paid, I think, maybe £5 to £10 for, what was it? I think maybe no, I don't know. It was an AI, Leonardo. I don't know. I can't remember what it was called. It was an AI software though, specifically for making image generation and whatnot. And what I did is I set up. I found a company that did print on demand basically. So you all you had to do was you could create the design and link it to your Shopify store, and then basically whenever anybody put in an order, it would just automatically go through them. They'd handle everything. They'd ship it out. They'd print the design, everything. I basically had to do fuck all, right? And yeah, I still fucked it up because that's how shit I was. Yeah, so all I had to do was make these designs, put in all the details, list the product on my store, um, and Bob's your uncle, right? Well, at least as far as setting it up goes. Um, and for the most part, it all worked out pretty well. I got some good designs, I managed to, I customized the store. It looked pretty good. It looked pretty decent. I don't know, there was definitely areas I could have improved in hindsight, but for the most part, it looked pretty good. And so did I actually not get in again? Wow, I'm shit at this. And so sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. What did I do? I forgot. All right, yeah. So I designed the website, and I thought it was pretty decent. There was definitely areas I could have improved in, but for the most part, it's pretty good. Especially for a first-time Shopify store, you got to remember that it's my first time starting a store, and of course, I just reset. Um, yeah, it looked pretty good. But then came the part that probably fucked me over the most. I should imagine it was the advertising. Uh, this I did not realize how complicated it was to set up ads. Wow, I keep bottling this shot, and I got I reset again. Yeah, so ads were fucking horrendous. In hindsight, not even in hindsight. At the time, I realized, wow, this is fucking hard. Um, because you think it's just gonna be, oh, let me make an ad, make an image, make a video, whatever, put it on some sort of software, whatever, some ad website, Google Ads, whatever. You initially you'd think, right, if you hadn't done it before, you'd think, okay, I make an ad, I put it on there, I give money, I specify my audience. Bob's your uncle. But Bob is not your uncle. Bob is not your uncle in this case. And I didn't even fucking get. Okay, sorry, I'm getting too caught up in the game. Uh, Bob was not your uncle. Okay, it's so much more complicated than that. And I think this is something that needs to be known more. I don't know. Like, I feel like it's not talked about enough at all in the business space. When you see these videos, how to set up a Shopify store, whatever, like how to drop ship, all these videos online, or all this content, or educational material, books, whatever. It's never true. I've never come across a piece of content, or a book, or whatever, that has actually detailed um, advertising, because it is so complicated. There is like 20 different pages, 20 different sets of details. If you even get one thing slightly wrong, you've completely mistargeted your audience, or you've ended up putting your ads in a complete wrong place, and everything's going to be fucked, and all your money's going to be wasted. It's insane just how much how complicated advertising actually is. And I did not know this my first time around, obviously. And I think this is the biggest thing that led to failure, right? Because, I went into it, I was like, okay, I have a product. Let me make an image advertising one of my shirts I'm selling, right? Of course, made with AI, but no, well, it used a real image but I just imposed the shirt onto the person in the image. Don't worry, it was fair use. I thought, okay, so this is good. This is an ad. I'll post this on my social medias for my company, and I'll advertise it. All right, should be piece of piss, right? No, it is not. It was not a piece of piss. Okay, it was not a piece of piss, because I, it was so long ago. I barely remember it now. Okay, so forgive me if I get some details wrong here, but like it was just like I was just like, okay, so I put this picture on, and I'm going through all the specifications, all the details, and then whenever you try and click next to go to the next page, it's always, oh, you haven't done this, you haven't done that, but then it's things completely unrelated to the advert. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you've ever tried to advertise a product before using Google ads or fucking God forbid Facebook ads, Jesus Christ, Facebook ads are actually, they make me want to. I can't say that on YouTube, but like honestly, ads are fucking horrendous. And if you've ever tried to list a product before, not list a product, advertise a product for dropshipping or a Shopify store or whatever, you'll know. You'll know just how fucking convoluted it is for no reason either. I feel like surely it can be made more user friendly. I don't see why not. But essentially, anyways, to not dwell on the ads too much, the ads completely fucked me. Okay, from wrong specifications to just putting the ads in the wrong place to a multitude of other reasons. The ads failed. Okay, the ads completely failed. I think in total, by the time I ended up shutting down the business, I had maybe gotten 3 or 4 orders that were not from, like a family member or something, right? And who knows? Maybe if I continued on, triumphed forward, I could have made it work. But actually, I couldn't have, because I ran out of money, which circling back to the ads. The ads took. I had no idea how to make budgeting work at the time. Once again, I was impatient. I put loads of money into it each day when I should have been definitely doing less, because I just wanted results now. And I think that's got to be the biggest downfall of any business or anybody trying to start a business, is a lack of patience, which is extremely common in young people like myself. And it is probably, if I had to guess, the number one reason most people's businesses, young people's businesses, fail. Do not make that mistake. Do whatever it takes to learn patience, okay? Because it's only now that I've learned patience that I can actually start to be somewhat successful in business. You need to have patience. It is so important you have patience, right? And so, anyways, back to the story. So that ads completely fucked me over. It'd been, I think I did this project for about maybe a month, 2 months, I think, in total, and I'm absolutely fucking bottling this round. Uh, I did ads for 2 months total. Not ads. I ran the business for 2 months, and then I ran out of money. At the time, I just had that set amount of money, and that was it. I have somewhat of an income now, through various things I won't go into, and so I can actually afford to keep operations going now. But at the time, I'd run out of money. That was that. I had no more money. There was nothing I could do about it. I just had to pack up. I just had to leave it. That was that. Project over. Business failed, and I was absolutely fucking pissed at this, because I thought I was going to take that 4 grand. I was going to change my life. I was going to make a shit ton of money. I was going to go fucking travel the world. No. And so, I mean, that's essentially what happened with my first business, my first official business. Technically, yeah, because all the stuff I did before that wasn't really a business. It was just freelance stuff, really. And yeah, and I think the biggest lessons to take from this is, I think the number one thing here is patience. You need patience. Okay, from the age of 12 up till now, I'm about to turn 19, right? Um, I, for the most part, have lacked patience, right? And so every single time I've tried to do anything in business, it's failed. Not because it couldn't work, not because I didn't have the skills, not because I couldn't gain the skills, not because I didn't have enough money. Well, maybe sometimes, but for the most part, no. The reason I've failed every single thing I've tried is not because I couldn't do it, it's because I didn't have the patience to follow through, or the patience to learn how to do it better, or the patience to improve, or the patience to just wait and let the results come in time, right? And like I said before, I think it's one of the most common flaws, I suppose, in young people is a lack of patience. Um, and I think if you can and I'm not sure how you would learn patience. I learned patience recently, only a few months ago, through something that isn't really easily replicatable. It was a very unique situation that taught me patience, but that I won't go into because it's quite personal. But um, I can't tell you how to learn patience, but you need to learn patience because as long as you're chasing instant results or you're chasing trying to get somewhere as fast as possible, as long as you're not willing to wait, as long as you're not able to just stand still and just wait and or work on something for a long time, you will never get anywhere in life, nowhere meaningful at least. Not just in terms of business, but just anywhere. You need patience. Patience is one of the most important parts of life and business. So that's probably the biggest one. But I think also another one is very specific here. Learn ads. Learn how to fucking do ads. Take a fucking course if you need to. Watch multiple videos. Make sure if you're starting a Shopify store and you want to run ads, before you do anything, learn how to use Google ads and Facebook ads to the best of your ability. Right? Watch videos, read books, take a course, whatever you need to do. Just make sure you know how ads work and how to run them properly. Because if you don't, then you can waste thousands and thousands of dollars or pounds, right? And get absolutely nowhere. So if you're specifically into dropshipping or a Shopify store, learn ads. I cannot stress this enough. Learn ads, please. God knows I will be before I start up another Shopify store. And so I think those are the two biggest mistakes I've made, and the two biggest mistakes you can make in regards to starting a business as a young person, solo, on your own, whatever, with barely any money. And that whole thing happened a year ago, near on. It happened, I think, about April 2025, and we're in March 2026. So yeah, about a year. And I think I think one more thing actually. One more thing that's important is, and I don't think this is absolutely necessary, but I think it's a good thing, and I think I don't think you should obviously try and do this, but if it does happen, I don't think you should be mad. I think you should learn to fail, or you should not purposely fail at running a business, but you should try and run a business and likely fail and not be mad at that, but take that as a learning opportunity, right? Because I've learned so much from failing that first business that I'm not going to fail my second one because I've seen all the mistakes I've made, and I now know how not to do them. Okay, meanwhile, if I had never tried that business in the first place, it never would have failed. And if it never would have failed, I never would have seen my issues, the flaws I had, the things that led to me failing, so that way I could not have improved upon those things. So I think even if you think you're inexperienced, even if you maybe don't know ads, I guess, maybe you should start a business knowing full well that you're an amateur, knowing full well that you don't know how to do this, so that you can fail miserably and then look back and see your mistakes and see what went wrong and improve upon that. So that next time when you start your next business, it doesn't fail. Or if it does fail, it still comes a lot closer to succeeding than it did before. But yeah, there's just a little yap about my first time starting a business. I wanted to just go over this because I'd been kind of thinking about it here and there for the past few weeks about how how this previous business failed, and because it was only in the past few weeks I came to the realization of why it failed. It was only in the past after now that I've learnt patience, I realised I didn't have it before. But before I thought I did have patience, or at least I thought I had more patience than I did. Right? So maybe you think you have patience, maybe you think you know it all, but trust me, you probably don't. Until you've had a successful business, you don't know. Okay, so I haven't had a successful oh, I haven't had a successful business yet. So honestly, I don't know either. I don't know everything. I'm not the best at business. Um, but I think the business I'm currently in the midst of building up, I think that will work out quite well. Hopefully it will. If not, I will learn lots. And that should be your mentality too. To try, and if you fail, make sure you learn from that mistake. Learn from that failure, and make sure you're better next time than you were the time before. And as long as you're always better than the last time, eventually it will work out. I believe. Of course, I've reset myself again. For fuck's sake. Yeah. So that was my little yapathon on my first business, and hopefully you can learn from this. Hopefully, I mean that's kind of the point. I want to be able to educate people so that way they don't make the same mistakes that I did, or they do make those mistakes, but they know they're making them, and know how to, move on from them. I don't know. I am really yapping now at this point. Yeah, this should be, I think, the first video on this channel. I'm not here to, capitalize off of this. I'm just here to I just thought, I just like yapping. So, if you want to hear me yap some more, then I guess you could subscribe, but I won't beg. Anyways, that was my yap. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.